Yo guys, how is everybody today? Welcome in Little Rover Sports, and we do have a laundry list of Giants to talk about today on the program, on the show. Really thankful for your viewership over the years and appreciate everybody that is watching right now this video on the New York Giants, on Dave Gettlemen, on Joe Judge. Giants go out there, and I was expecting this team against the 49ers. I was not expecting a win, but I was expecting the New York Giants to go out in this game, and I was expecting them to be in the game. The Giants against Mitchell Trubisky, against Allen Robinson, against David Montgomery, Anthony Miller, they held their own in the second half of that game, and their defense stepped up. In the first half against the Steelers, the defense played pretty well. And I was thinking that this is a backup quarterback in Nick Mullins. He has very limited arm strength in this league. He does. He has limited arm strength in the NFL, and that is the reason why he's a backup quarterback. It is because of that, because of his limited skill set, his limited arsenal, at the quarterback position. It's why he is not playing as a starter. So the Giants in this game, I really expected the Giants to be in it. The Giants failed in every possible way, in every possible scenario, and it was embarrassing. It's Brandon Ayuk, it's Nick Mullins, the running backs are out, and they just got out coached and out schemed by Kyle Shanahan, and it was embarrassing. It was absolutely pivotal. I used that word wrong. It was pathetic. It was horrible. It was disgraceful. The team didn't even look like an NFL team. And I thought that this defense would improve. And the really frustrating thing about watching the Giants these last couple of years is that they're not winning games and their players are really inconsistent. Even Lorenzo Carter, even guys like Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, these guys don't show up, and there's nobody on the Giants that is really a difference maker week in and week out on the defensive side of the ball. So Dave Gettlemen selects all these players, and they're all properly picked in the NFL draft order. I mean, DeAndre Baker was a first-round safety. Lorenzo Carter was taken in the third round appropriately. Will Hernandez was getting a fringe first-round grade from guys that are experts in the scouting department. You looked at Darnay Holmes in the fifth round, and Shane Lemieux and Matt Peart, and it's not like Dave Gettlemen was going out there and signing D3 guys that played at Minnesota Duluth and that absolutely are freaking horrible. So what is going on with the Giants, I think it's more than just Dave Gettlemen, because we're not there every single day. The New York Giants don't know how to develop talent whatsoever. This team on defense, it doesn't know how to improve its players. And there's no pass rush on the edge. There's nobody that destroys the edge. There's nobody that can understand how to guard against a slant. There's really no teaching or education. Joe Judge is all about teaching. I'm not seeing it on the defensive side of the ball. Dave Gettlemen, as a general manager right now, none of his players are coming to the forefront and making a difference. Carter's not. Shane Xemenez is not. Kevin Zeitler and Will Hernandez, Nick Gates, Andrew Thomas, and Nate Solder last year was a massive disappointment. And these are all you could look at Dave Gettlemen for these problems, but I also believe that the coaches are definitely to blame as well, because these coaches, they're telling Dave Gettlemen to get these guys into the house. Shermer and the regime last year, they're signing off on all of these moves. The ownership is really the people that are saying these guys, these football players can really contribute. So these guys are regressing at a maximum level. And there's no winning with the New York Giants whatsoever. And the frustrating thing is when you're trying to rebuild, you're trying to at least get pieces that you can work into the long-term plan. You're at least trying to see a foundation. You're at least trying to see the framework for which the team can be successful. And Pat Graham for the Miami Dolphins last year, the one thing about Graham is that Miami Dolphins team was terrible, and then at the end of the year it started to rock. So I'm going to give Judge a lot of time. I'm going to give Pat Graham a lot of time. But when you look at this team right now, the one thing the Giants do not have that makes football really fun, they do not score the football. They never have a lead. I don't think in the Bears game the Giants were winning at all. I think out of the 12 quarters the Giants have played this year, they might have been winning for maybe 0.5 quarters out of 12 they're winning the game. They don't know how to get up big, and it's because their quarterback does not have a strong arm and does not hunt big plays. You have Darius Slayton here. You have Evan Ingram here. It's time the Giants start taking some chances. I'm tired of Daniel Jones. Oh, we can't turn the ball over. I'm really tired of that. Because Jones is turning it over anyway, you might as well go and try to score some damn points in this game and score it in a cheap and easy way. You watch Pat Mahomes, you watch some of these guys play the game of football, and they can score touchdowns in one play. And the Giants don't have anybody that can do that on the roster. Colt McCoy's a weak-armed quarterback. Same with Daniel Jones. These guys are not big-armed quarterbacks. It's very fundamental. It's very fundamental. You have Chad Kelly out there on waivers. You can go sign Chad Kelly. You can go and ask about the availability of Jarrett Stidham and Mitchell Trubisky. Maybe flip them a fifth-rounder. Because if you're Gettlemen, you're done anyway. You're done. Jones is a quarterback that, what has he shown you that thinks that Daniel Jones can be the long-term savior at the quarterback position? What this year has he shown you? He's not even trying to make throws in the tight windows. He's not even trying to score. That's the thing that's really frustrating about Daniel Jones. He's not taking any shots deep. I don't understand how in 1 year, if the Giants decide to keep Daniel Jones and Jason Garrett, that next year, with one receiver coming in the draft or free agency, how Daniel Jones, how Ingram, how this team is going to be unlocked on the offensive side of the ball with Daniel Jones. He is not, at least Jameis Winston showed you some signs of life. Marcus Mariota in his first couple of years showed you signs of life. Jones has no signs of life. He's like Sam Darnold. These guys show you zero signs of life. Derek Carr had an MVP type of year within his first couple of seasons. Jones won't even have a good game out of 16 games. He just won't. And eventually you got to adapt and move on, and that's a problem with this ownership, unfortunately. And this really hurts to say because I don't like the way that the Seattle Seahawks play. I really don't. I don't like that style of football whatsoever. It's really basketball on grass. It's kind of how the Saints played with Drew Brees. The scores are always in the high 30s. There's 1,000 yards given up on both sides of the ball. Seattle Seahawks have Russell Wilson. They're 3-0. The Green Bay Packers, it's not like their defense is absolutely impeccable. But if you have a quarterback like a Rodgers or a Russell Wilson or Big Ben, you look at Cam Newton. Well, Cam Newton's a different example. That's a well-run organization. I'll put Pittsburgh in a different category as well. You do have Mahomes and Andy Reid, but that's the elite of the elite. That's where you're trying to go. Lamar Jackson and that offensive scheme and just the talent of Baltimore all over the field is quick. The guys are fast. They're modern. I don't like playing the way Seattle plays. I do like ground and pound old school football. I grew up on Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw and stuffing it and running it between the tackles. But if the New York Giants, if they can't unpack the box, there's a problem. Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator is a retread conservative hire. He is. He's no fun like a Joe Brady. Joe Brady, Lincoln Riley, air it out, score quickly. I want to score quickly. Let's just start with really easy, tangible goals. Not winning is that's not specific enough. Let's talk about what we want our Giants to look like. What I want the Giants to look like on the offensive side of the ball is I want a quarterback in here, whether it's Chad Kelly, whether it's Jarrett Stidham, whether they go out and whether they go out and get Mitchell Trubisky, whether they, select a Kyle Trask or a Trey Lance in the first round of the draft. I want a quarterback that'll throw a 50-yard bomb. I want a quarterback that can throw it 45 yards in the air on a consistent basis, that tries. Even if he throws picks, I'm the guy. I'm fine with that. A lot of times interceptions just change field position. The Giants cannot score they cannot get the ball in the end zone. They cannot move the ball. They have no explosive plays. There are zero explosive plays going on with the New York Giants. There's zero. Zero explosive plays. Zero explosive plays with the New York Giants. Just continue to repeat that. There is zero on the offensive side of the ball. And that's the problem. And you could say, trading Odell Beckham, you could have had him here. Well, Odell was a headache for sure. Now that Eli Manning, the greatest Giants quarterback and one of the greatest ever play, is no longer here, now that Coughlin's no longer here, the Giants, I don't necessarily want them to be basketball on grass. Preferably, you'd want them to be like a Patriots, or how about New Orleans? Just being able to win in a multitude of ways would be nice. If their defense was a little bit better than Seattle, I'd appreciate it. Green Bay can at least win games running the football, but the Giants really, in the way that the game is kind of laid out now with pass interferences, the defensive linemen are faster. You got to get a quarterback that has a great feel for escaping the pocket. That's why Chad Kelly is that answer. That is why you look at some of the guys. That's why you look at Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, and he's going to be a lot better quarterback than Daniel Jones. You look at Justin Herbert. You can't just be fast. You have to know when to leave the pocket, and you got to be able to throw on the run, stop on the run, leave the pocket. Russell Wilson, all of his great plays are improvisational. Josh Allen, it's all schoolyard BS. That's what Josh Allen said. Find a guy that could schoolyard BS a little bit. And there's guys are growing up and training like that. So it's not like Brett Favre's one of the only guys. Daniel Jones is a pocket passer, but even as a pocket passer, unlike Jameis Winston, he does not have a big enough arm to survive. He's a smart guy. Yeah, he could study. He could pass an exam. It doesn't equate to football intelligence. And also, Daniel Jones does not hunt big plays, and the team is not motivated behind its quarterback. You look at Kyler Murray and young quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson. Daniel Jones is not taking over this team. He's not. This team is juiceless on the sidelines because they're putting in the work in practice. Their defense is busting their ass against the Steelers and the Bears, and they have no offense. They don't believe in Daniel Jones. They're like, why waste my time? Why waste my time? Why waste my time getting you a 3-and-out, Daniel, just so that you'll put me back on the field? Just so that you might get one first down and then punt it away so I'm back in the game? Why hold a team to 20 points when you can only score 3 or 7 points yourself? This defense is tired. They're tired of the offense. Giants nothing comes easy. You look at teams that are good like the Chiefs and the Ravens and good football teams, things come easy. The Bills are up 28-3, and explosive plays make things easier. It's why the Mississippi State Bulldogs went to LSU and put up 600 yards, and they're just throwing post routes. That's all they do because they attack. They have a killer instinct on the offensive side of the ball. They're not just running it into the line of scrimmage. I'm not saying that the Giants have to be Kansas City on offense and play basketball on grass. And I don't like that style because it's like a roller coaster and it's like you're spinning a wheel every time. And it's like you need the wheel to it's like you're playing roulette. And that's what the Seattle Seahawks do every single week. It comes down to the last possession of playing roulette because their defense is absolutely trash. That's why I don't know if they can win a championship, even though Russell Wilson might be a top 10 QB to ever play the sport of football. I want some defense, but I want an explosive passing game. And I know if an explosive passing game, the running game will come. And even if you're turning the ball over, even if you're turning the football over, I know that that defense is not looking forward to playing against an explosive passing game because you're scared and you got to tire out the safeties and corners and send guys deep. And guess what? If your line can't block, you backpedal, you throw one up. You give Slayton a chance. You give your receivers a chance. You look at Steve Smith. Steve Smith, Hall of Fame receiver. He had Jake Delhomme. He loved playing with Delhomme. I talked to former receivers. I know a former receiver very well, and he actually played for a guy that was a lot better than Jake Delhomme. And I was like, why would you want to play with Jake Delhomme? He was a turnover machine. He would throw a lot of picks. He's like, because Jake would allow guys to have opportunities to make plays. Eli Manning did that. Eli did that. And I know that on this video sometimes the buffering, the lagging, my mouth, the way that the video syncs up might not be absolutely to the apex of perfection. But right now, hopefully it syncs up. Hopefully it syncs up for the majority of the experience. But what I'm saying about the Giants is that I would look at a new quarterback. I would look at Colt McCoy. I would look at Chad Kelly because you can't win in this league if you're playing bottom two quarterback, and that's what Jones is. Jones and Darnold are at the bottom of the scrap heap. The team needs to blitz more, get to the quarterback more, play with an edge, play tough. I don't think you can win with this. I don't think you can win with this offense. I don't think you can win with a guy like that's a Case Keenum at this level, and that's what Daniel Jones unfortunately is. So I think that everybody is less inspired. You're room for error when you're Daniel Jones. You have to go on a 90-play drive to score. You can't throw it to Slayton. Explosive plays make the game easier. They do. They create points and they create excitement and they create momentum for the entire team. When you can take the top off of a defense and when you can hit a 70-yard play, when you can get an easy touchdown, and that's what the Giants have been missing. They have. And I guess you can go back to Odell Beckham and things of that nature. I do love the glory days of running into the line of scrimmage. But unless you're going to get a lead offensive lineman, and unless you're going to have your whole program try to win every single game 24-17, it is just a really low percentage way to play. The Raiders are doing everything in their power to make it work with Derek Carr in that fashion, but they're still getting beat, by teams like, the Patriots. They still have an expiration date on them. The best teams are like the Buffalo Bills, where they have an explosive quarterback that can make big throws and plays. Their defense is top notch. And when the weather gets cold in Buffalo, their defense will carry them. And their offense will be good enough running the ball to eventually win games in ugly, sloppy weather. But the New York Giants, when the weather is nicer out in the months of September and October, they are not creating the passing plays that are necessary to win. And I think that with no fans in the stands this year, the offenses, it's almost like like shooting basketballs in practice. The offenses don't have to worry about any crowd noise whatsoever or any nerves. That's why these guys are ice on the offensive side. It's why the defense is struggling getting motivated to play. They feed off of the crowd noise. There is no 11 on 11. The point is, though, I've seen enough from Daniel Jones. And the frustrating thing is with Gettlemen is that he's selecting guys that it can't be that every player absolutely sucks. It's just the development, the strength and conditioning coach. Everything that is going on with the New York Giants, nothing is clicking at all. Nothing. The Giants are trying a couple of things out. Dave Gettlemen selected the guys that Joe Judge wants, and yet nobody is producing. And you look at teams in the NFL, when you're a professional football team, these guys get paid millions of dollars to play. You're still selecting guys that are talented guys, right? And you even see Janoris Jenkins go elsewhere. You see like Darian Thompson starting on the Cowboys. And you see a team like the Panthers that have no players on their team. They go to the Chargers and they win a game without McCaffrey. The Giants can't even dream of winning a game in this league right now. And that's why the Giants need to go and put pressure on Jones with a quarterback competition. The Giants need to look at some of the players that they really cut in the offseason, like Benjamin Victor and guys like Dylan from LSU. These are really fast guys. The Giants invested in a Blake Martinez that is just frankly not making enough difference in the way that these games are played. And it's just it's incredible. It's incredibly disappointing watching this team, watching this offense go out. And the Giants, I mean, this year, I don't want to quit on the season. I want a new quarterback in there. I want Chad Kelly. You can get Chad Kelly for nothing. I want to see some competition in practice, and I want to see, whether it's Colt Daniel or a Chad Kelly, I want to see a quarterback come in there and just push the ball down the field. I want to see Dexter Lawrence, who is a first-round pick. I want to see him produce and have a 2-sack game for once. I want to see guys like Leonard Williams that you're paying the franchise tag. I want to see him absolutely destroy the running back from the LA Rams this week. I want to see the Giants put together some life in Los Angeles this week. It was a horrible game against the 49ers, but the Giants, they could show some life and they can bounce back and finish this season well. The defense is in a very tough situation. The morale's at an all-time low. When you have an offense that is this embarrassingly poor, especially in a league where the offenses are so talented and the defense and the linemen are just a lot weaker, and the reps and the way that these quarterbacks throw the ball, they're better quarterbacks than ever before. When you have an offense that is this pitiful, you're always going to lose. You look at the Bears game, the Giants were down, and they were lucky. It was a miracle to score 13 points. Against the Steelers, they needed a garbage time touchdown to get to 16 points. The team can't score any points. So how do you get points quickly? You need fast guys. Find a fast guy, okay? Mo Alley Cox for the Colts. Gabriel Davis is a 5th-round pick. You can find wide receivers in the draft and on the street. Hakeem Butler. Just go out and sign them and start throwing them the damn ball in these games. And stop being so afraid to hit a big throw and a big play. Daniel Jones is getting intercepted, and he's getting intercepted on literal checkdowns 5 yards down the field. The Giants and Jones, he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards at a time. And that is why he's a failure. It's an incapability of doing it. The way that he played, did he have more talent against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year? Did he have more talent against the Lions? What was Evan Ingram? What was Shepard? What were they doing in that Bucs game? They had momentum. Jones threw with the wind and made a couple of throws down the field. But he hasn't been the same guy really since those couple of games last year. He's regressed, and I don't think he has the ability to do it. His release is too sloppy, and I really want to see a quarterback competition. To me, he's Mitchell Trubisky, and you got to put in a Foles or you got to put somebody else in the game. Dave Gettlemen, unfortunately for Gettlemen, I'm the biggest Gettleman defender that there is. He's indefensible, hard to defend, because this team is the worst team, and every single pick that he's picked, nobody is making an impact. Against the 49ers, nobody made an impact. Against Chicago, I guess you could say Bradbury and Martinez made an impact. But he selected Daniel Jones. He wanted Jason Garrett. Wide receiver-wise, he kept Evan Ingram. He signed Sterling Shepard. So he signed these guys. And then offensive line-wise, Will Hernandez, Nate Solder did not work. And he brought in, center Nick Gates. And Zeitler and Hernandez have just been massive disappointments. The line and the way that the offense is structured, and the Giants are not looking at out of the box ways to do things. They're not lining up in 4 personnel. Their coaches are not digging deep and giving the defenses different looks. So you look at Andy Reid and the Chiefs, and then the defense did put the offense in horrible situations. So I have better expectations for this defense because Graham, he worked with Miami last year, who didn't have any talent. I look at the X-Man. I look at Lorenzo Carter. These guys are fast. Lorenzo's a fast guy. Leonard Williams has talent. There's a reason he was drafted number 3 in this league. Dexter Lawrence, like I said, B.J. Hill, Dalvin Tomlinson. These are guys that have had success. There's no reason why this defense should absolutely suck. You have Julian Love, who's a 4th-round pick. You got to get these guys to produce if you're Dave Gettlemen. So maybe against the Rams, they'll really show up defensively. Because you look at the Bears game, they played pretty good, okay? Give them, like in the Bears game, you give the Giants defense maybe a B-. Against the Steelers, you maybe give the team a flat C. That's not an F. The offense in the Bears game, I'd give them about a D+. The Steelers game, the offense, give them about a C, that was the best the offense had played in the first half. No explosive plays, but a C. Then you're going to look at the game against the 49ers, and the offense, again, goes from a D+ to an absolute F. Absolute failure. And that's what's going on. The offense is failing. And the defense was a flat F. In the Bears game, the defense, again, B+. If the offense gives you a C, you probably beat the Chicago Bears in that game. If you had Chad Kelly. Again, you look at Chad Kelly, he's a quarterback who can throw it a country mile, and he could run outside the pocket and make things happen on the run. You even look at Brissett as like a bigger guy, bigger arm, better. Mitchell Trubisky outplayed Daniel if you watch that game. I mean, come on. Anybody with a pair of eyes could see Mitchell play better. Mitch is very motivated. I would look at a 4th or 5th rounder for Trubisky. I mean, give 5th rounder for Trubisky. Let him come in. Because, I mean, for Jason Garrett, he's dealing with Daniel. How are we supposed to know that Garrett's any good? But also the Giants, they want to hire retread guys. They want to be safe. They don't want to be impulsive, but they just get left behind. They're not adapting. They don't really adapt to this basketball on grass. So they have none of the functions that Seattle or the Dallas Cowboys have, where they can get a bunch of yards and a bunch of points. They don't. And I guess if you're going to have a quarterback like a Daniel Jones, like I guess Jared Goff might be the best comparison, you got to have an incredible offensive mind like McVay. You got to run a lot of different guys around. You got to be like Shanahan. Look at Shanahan made Nick Mullins really good by having misdirection, by getting guys on the edges. And for Judge, I think that Joe Judge put it this way. Judge is not responsible for offense and defense. I think that he's a good disciplinarian. I think that he's a hard worker. He's good. He's tough. So Judge can hang around, but the Giants, they don't need Jason Garrett's offense. They can go out and hire a young OC that can run the Shanahan offense, like Rich Scangarello, and try to create explosive plays and try to have movement going on in the backfield. The Giants can absolutely do that. And then Graham is multiple. I think Graham is going to figure this thing out. I really do. It was Shanahan, and now you're going up against McVay, so you're going up against the most difficult. There's pieces that I want to stay. I want Judge to stay. Bradbury could stay. Patrick Graham could stay. But you look at the hot seat right now, it starts with Daniel Jones. It starts with Garrett. Gettlemen is already almost gone. I'm already almost resigned to that fact. Mark Colombo is also on the hot seat as well if this offensive line can't start performing at a better level. Evan Ingram is just about out of town. He's no good. I'd put Caden Smith in the game. Ingram fumbles, drops too many passes, and is unreliable in game time. The interesting question that is always posed is Judge is a cheap guy in terms of he's not cheap, but he's cheap in terms of what you're paying him. If you look at Lincoln Riley will play basketball on grass. He is the most modern coach that you can find. He's a QB whisperer. the way he creates running game, you're going to have offense if you hire that guy. Brady's a little more risky, but Joe Brady is still like really, really good at offense. I would probably stay with Joe Judge, or you look at those other guys, and even though Judge is probably going to be a really good coach for somebody, if you really want to jumpstart your offense, you have to look at all options right now. And that's the thing. You're at ground zero, and at ground zero, anything is on the table for this team. Anything. And if you want to go out there and get a Lincoln Riley, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. I think Judge is very good. I think Judge can absolutely be like really spectacular. I actually think Judge has advantages over Riley in terms of maybe leadership, in terms of having Patrick Graham, having a defense, but I think Judge wants to play old school, run the football, but he doesn't have the Josh McDaniels and the Belichick to kind of help him like also put up points and navigate this system in this. It's a very modernized passing league, and the Giants can't pass. So the Giants might be good at playing in the Big Ten where the offenses aren't explosive, but there's so many explosive offenses now that you're just playing against analytics, you're playing against numbers, and I don't like analytics or numbers that much. I like old school ball. I like, guys running the ball. I like a very physical brand of football, I like ball control, kind of like Oakland plays. That's why I watch a lot of college ball. And even though Wilson is really exciting to some, right? Seattle, Dallas, and seeing thousands of yards and catches, that to me is kind of like two-hand touch football, And the New York Giants have always been a smash mouth. They've always been fun on defense, and they've always been fun to see their offensive line run the ball. And Dave Gettlemen has tried his best to get offensive linemen, and the Giants have tried this style. And they've tried it now for the last 3 or 4 years, and it has failed miserably, and they cannot recapture the magic. So the Giants are now going to have to adapt their way of thinking. They're going to have to get a big-armed quarterback that is mobile, and they're going to have to try to create a way to create explosive plays throughout the passing game and go from pass to run. And then their defense with Patrick Graham, I believe, will come around. If the Giants want to hire Lincoln Riley and pay him a ton of money, I would respect the owners greatly for doing that. If they wanted to hire Joe Brady, I'd also be all right with the decision. I would understand it at this point. I'm not tied to anything. Eli is gone. I'm not tied to anything. The way that the Giants are playing football right now is disgraceful. They are not improving on any side of the ball. There is nothing to hang your hat on with this team. Everybody can be replaced. Anybody can. That's the way that you have to look at this thing. And if you're an owner, you really have to go to those practices and you have to take the time to not just accept this. And that's the problem with even me and just seeing this is, apathy set in on Sunday, but at the same time, I'm a really big Giants fan that I'm also, I care too much. And maybe you guys can relate to it. Like, I'm trying to almost escape the failure. But for me, it's really offending me also because, I believed in Jones. I believed in Gettlemen. I believed in this plan of Hernandez, of Zeitler, of Andrew Thomas, Saquon. I thought the Giants could run the ball. I thought Jones would be good enough to win. I thought this defense would really be solid. I thought the team would really compete and would score enough points and would be moderately entertaining and would be headed in the right direction, like a 6-10, 7. And I really thought that the Giants could win at least 6 or 7 games and could really run the ball with their offensive line this year, Mark Colombo, and can actually be in a game and their defense can get pressure on the quarterback and this team would come out firing and looking aggressive. And so that's why it's been also tough because I believed in the plan of Gettlemen completely. And it made me question, for sure, my own opinions on what is good football and what isn't good football. Because the league is a passing league. It's basketball on grass. It's hard to watch. I don't like it. I don't want the Giants to become basketball on grass, but yet to sometimes win in this league, they're going to have to try to modernize and you're going to have to try to compromise if you want to have success. You're going to look at Aldon Smith. He is a guy that has had all these problems mental, and really being not the greatest person in the world. He goes to the Cowboys now, and he's really good. The Giants never bring in problem guys. Sometimes you just, honestly, you hate to use the word desperate, but this team is becoming Nebraska. It's becoming Arkansas. It's becoming irrelevant in the league. Detroit goes to a freaking Arizona with Matt Patricia as a head coach, and they get a win that the Giants could never even dream of getting against the Arizona Cardinals. The Panthers with Matt Rule go to the Chargers and get a W, and they're competitive against the Buccaneers. And the New York Giants are not competitive at all, and it makes you question things. And the only thing is, as a person, as an evaluator, you can't be too stubborn in opinions. You got to adapt them sometimes. And sometimes your opinions will be right, and sometimes your opinions will be very, very wrong. And you got to adapt quickly. Jones just hasn't shown me any sign of real potential. Super Bowl potential. He's not like a Jimmy G. He can't move the ball or even hit a 20-yard throw. He is not showing me anything. The defense has shown me a little splash. I love the way they played against Trubisky in the second game. They were where they were supposed to be. The Bears guys just out-hustled them. Shanahan really outcoached them. The defense had their first horrible game. It's why the Giants fans thought they can win. But the offensive side of the ball is inadmissible of excuses. And why not put in Cole? I mean, what do you guys see in Daniel Jones? I know Jones played all right last year. Jones isn't going to have a lot of weapons. You play in the NFL, even practice squad guys are still the best guys that you have in college. There is no innovative offense here with Jones. He's willing to lose. He's a little bit apathetic. I need Jones to start speaking up, getting in people's faces, and playing with a sense of urgency and desperation. I want to see a team play with a sense of urgency on Sunday. Leave everything out there on the field. If they turn it over, if they make a mistake physically, I'm going to be all right with it. I need to see hard hitting. I need to see diving for the ball. I just want to see the Giants lay everything out there against the Rams. That's what I want to see. Against the 49ers, they quit late in the game. So I'm very adaptable, flexible, and I try to treat this show like I would if I was an owner. And right now I'd go to practice and say Daniel isn't throwing deep. There's guys that are out there like Chad Kelly specifically that I think he's 6'2". He was great at Ole Miss. Eli went to Ole Miss. That's besides the point. But Chad Kelly can throw the ball 60 yards in the air. And Chad Kelly is fast, and Chad Kelly looks for big plays and has had maximum success in terms of hitting big plays and putting and winning shootouts and playing that style of up-tempo offense. You look at Jarrett Stidham, can even score quickly and could score points. Great in high school and very, very successful at the college level. So I'm ready for that. A lot to unpack in this video for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment below what you think the Giants should do going forward. What positions are safe? Who would you look at? I'm not ruling out anything. I'm not ruling out the tanking for Lawrence crowd. I'm not ruling out even looking for a new coach if there's a brilliant head coach that is an offensive guy like Lincoln Riley or even Joe Brady. Because the Giants are at ground zero right now, and nothing, when you lose to Nick Mullins by 30, there is nothing that says you should remain on the path. It's like complete devastation. There's like almost nothing left. There's nothing left to hang your hat on after that. And I know that you're recycling, but when you have something that is crap, that is not good, you shouldn't hang on to that. Whatsoever. You shouldn't. You got to look for ways to improve and improve kind of quickly. And the good news is against the Rams, we'll see Graham, we'll really see Judge. That's who we're going to see. we're going to see Joe Judge and Patrick Graham the rest of the year. And we're going to see the defensive line and the defense. And each game that the defense plays will be very telling. Are they going to just lay low and be absolutely pitiful like the 49ers? Or are they going to play better football down the stretch against really weak opponents like the Eagles and the Redskins and give the Giants opportunities to win if they did have an offense? This team doesn't have an offense, but can they have a defense? Okay, I've said that before. That's what I want to see is defense. Offense, I've completely lost all hope. But defensively, I look at this team, Julian Love, Bradbury, who's playing great ball, Darnay Holmes, who I've seen good flashes of this season, Blake Martinez is hustling out there, Xavier Ximenez, Lorenzo Carter, who had a good camp, who actually played all right in the first couple of games. I'm looking at those guys because I think that there could be something salvaged on that side of the ball. Offense, I'm done. I don't believe in the quarterback. I don't believe in the offense at all. I'm done. The offense, it would shock me if they got a first down. I'd be surprised. The offense, I have zero hope, zero, in doing anything substantial on that side of the ball. But defense, second half against Chicago, first half against the Steelers, against Big Ben. Team was excellent and hustling. Run defense. Even against the Niners, like you may laugh, the pass defense was a joke, but you're going up against the most brilliant offensive mind. The run defense, the guys are in the right position. The defense has to play in a vacuum. You have to win. You have to play against yourself. You can't worry about the offense. The offense, you're never going to win with this offense. You're going to always lose. But can you represent New York and represent me and other Giants fans and really put an effort on defense? Because that's an area you can control. It's almost like boxing out in basketball. Can you play with heart, energy, and force punts and earn your paycheck and make yourself and your teammates on defense proud? The defense needs to become its own state, its own operation. They can associate with the offense and be friends with them, absolutely. Just go out and get punts and get stops defense. That's what you got to watch if you're a Giants fan. Be proud of your defense. That's a spot that the Giants can do. That's a realistic expectation, is the defense. I don't expect to win. I don't expect to put up any points. They're not going to win. But against the Rams, if you slow them down to 21 points, sack Jared Goff, get some turnovers, I'll be very, very proud and appreciative of Joe Judge and Patrick Graham. And I know that this team is a quarterback away and pieces on offense away. So defense, take care of your crap and put up a better performance. I'm watching you, and I want to have hope in this defense going forward. Okay? All right. There you go. Let's go.